The Blue Jays own Fenway Park, baby. They own it. They
First of all,
absolutely own it. The Red Sox can't do anything against Toronto. I dare you to try. You can't. Jays win. This is Locked On Blue Jays.
and it starts right now.
You are Locked On Blue Jays, your daily Toronto Blue Jays podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Matt Bonaparte, Ben Shulman with you here on Locked On Blue Jays. Thank you for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. Did you know that I was reading that incorrectly this whole time, and I was saying wherever you get your podcast? It's just wherever you get podcasts.
Just get pods. Get them.
So,
Keep 'em.
Inside
Not the
Baseball.
worst.
I think we're the top Inside Baseball podcast out there. We're always giving away industry
We want the
secrets.
people to know what it's like to host a podcast.
Yeah, you're coming along this ride with us. We appreciate you if you've been here since day one. Thank you for being with us if you have. If you haven't and you're just showing up, feel free to email us at lockdownbluejaysreal@gmail.com. We will answer it on the air, likely, if you ask a question. If you don't follow us on Twitter, go follow us on Twitter at LockedOnJays. Okay, anyway, Jays win 3-2 in extra innings. How about that George double right off the monster? I thought that was going out when he hit it.
Yeah, I did too. I mean, I think that's one of the few balls. The monster helps you get a lot of home runs on shallow fly balls, but I thought he hit that ball so hard that was one where at a regular length but smaller wall, I think would have gone out. I'm actually, as soon as you start talking next, I'm going to look at how many ballparks it would have gone out in.
Okay. Such an aggressive swing from Springer.
First pitch.
Yeah, I mean, he was all over that pitch. I mean, there was a couple of really nice plays tonight, but let's start on the pitching end of things for the Jays. Barrios, this is good. At this point, you'll take that from Barrios. 6 innings, 2 earned on the Frenchie Cordero homer. Only 1 walk, 5 hits, and 6 Ks. I'll take that every single time from Jose Barrios. Obviously, he's not giving us that every single time, but that's pretty nice when you get it from him. The bullpen came in for his aide. Yimi Garcia gives you a scoreless inning. Mesa comes in, gets in some trouble. Anthony Bass doesn't care, strikes out a couple of guys in Mesa's relief. Simber comes in for a shutdown inning, and then Jordan Romano in extras to wipe out the Red Sox. Overall, pretty darn good game. I think my takeaway here is that Springer has put this team back on track. World Series back on.
I hate the World Series or nothing stuff. You know it. Yes, I would agree. I think the big thing from this game is the Springer impact. And, he's been phenomenal since coming back from the elbow stuff. Clearly that must have been bothering him a lot because he has been just dominant over this span. Now, by the way, I did look at that ball. It would have gone out in one ballpark in Major League Baseball. So I am dumb. Do you have a guess of which ballpark it would have gone out to?
Great question.
Fly ball, left field, kind of shallow.
If Camden didn't move the walls back, I would have said that, but it's not them. High fly ball to left field. Who's got a short left field? Is it Yankee Stadium? Don't say it's Yankee Stadium.
Yankee Stadium. It's a ballpark that has a notable section or place kind of thing in left field.
Oh, goodness. Notable section or play. I really want to get this now. Back to my thing about listening from day one. If you've been listening from day one, I'm competitive when it comes to this, and I want this answer.
I love trivia. I want to be a game show.
I'm going to go AL East. It's not an AL East team. I'm going to say that.
You would be correct. It's not an AL East team.
AL Central, it's not Comerica. It's not Cellular.
American Fenway.
Ooh, is it Progressive? Ooh, it could be Progressive. They have such a high wall, though. I don't think so. Not Kauffman. Central. Who's the other team in the Central? The Twins? No, it's not them. Okay, we're moving on from the Central to the West. Not the Rangers. Not the Angels. Could be the Angels. I don't think it's the Angels. Did you just laugh because it's the Rangers?
No, I'm just laughing
Okay.
at your thought process, and I was laughing at the fact that I've accidentally derailed our game react, but I don't really care.
Yeah, you really have, but I really want to know. Not the A's. I don't think it's an AL Park. Is that correct?
You want me to tell you the answer to that?
Oh, it's Houston.
There you go.
Okay, it's Houston.
It's Houston.
There you
The
go.
Coffee
Minute
Box.
Maid.
We landed there,
Yeah.
and that's kind of fitting for George, a long-time Houston.
Yeah.
Astros.
He's so used to that.
He's been really good ever since coming back. He has a hit in every game since returning. He returned on August 15th, and not including tonight. He was 12 for 20 with 2 doubles and a triple. So he ends up going 3 for 5 tonight. His average is 600 right now. Since coming back, he has been massive. So yes, I agree that he's been the spark. I guess the side story of this game, you had talked about Barrios a little bit. Interesting experience for me. I couldn't catch the start of the game on TV. I was driving, so I was listening on the radio, and I flipped after the home run to the Sirius XM MLB channel, and they were doing MLB Tonight, but like simulcasted. And Harold Reynolds was like, Barrios gives up a homer in the second. He's been so up and down. They just can't seem to figure it out. But he did figure it out. Like now, I mean, all we ask of him, and he hasn't done it consistently, but all we ask of him is that when he makes a mistake, it doesn't turn into 5. And he didn't. He walked a guy to lead off the inning, set himself up poorly, gave up a homer, but it really didn't affect the rest of his outing. And he was good. I mean, 6 innings, 2 earned runs. You would take that from any of the pitchers pretty much any day.
And other kind of side note is Alejandro Kirk has an RBI single and 2 infield singles. We're talking about the Mexican meatball right now. I'm coining that, by the way. He's the man. Alejandro, he's had a season that I don't even think he believed he could have. This has got to be like incredibly surreal for him. He's just fantastic. I mean, the dude is just an animal at the plate, and he doesn't. Like my favorite part about him is that like when he's up there, and even when he hits the ball, like you're never like, oh, that ball's out. You're never thinking that. Like he just like he hits the ball like so pedestrianly, and it just flies.
Yeah.
Alejandro is that man.
Great contact hitter. There was like once when that like 2 weeks he was really going.
Yes.
There was one ball he turned on in the Rogers Center. I don't remember who against. But that was the only time where I remember being like, oh my goodness, Alejandro, like you just got that. But I do agree with you. He's just thinking and dunking his way to a 300 season potentially. Back over 300 with the hits in this game. He's batting .302. So good for you, Alejandro.
In the midst of his worst month.
Yeah. I don't really have much else on the game. We're going to talk about some more macro stuff coming up. Would you like to pay the bills?
Yeah, man. Let me tell you guys why you shouldn't drink and drive. You're hanging out with some friends and you're putting back a few drinks. Few becomes too many. And as the evening comes to an end, people start to think about heading out. You think of calling for a ride. Nah, though. You live nearby. You can make it home okay. It's no big deal. What are the odds you'll even get pulled over anyway? And even so, what's the worst that could happen? Your insurance goes up. You know what? Those points. You lose your license. You lose your job. You total your car. You kill someone. Everyone knows about the risks of drunk driving. The results are tragic and often deadly. However, that still doesn't stop everyone from getting behind the wheel while under the influence. That's why that's why police officers are out there right now looking for impaired drivers on our roads to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Play it safe and plan ahead to get a ride. It only makes one mistake to change your life or someone else's forever. Drive sober or get pulled over.
It's Locked On Blue Jays with Matt Bonaparte and Ben Shulman, and it continues. So the Blue Jays obviously got off to a poor start of August. But they have really rebounded. They've won 6 of the last 7. They're 12 games over 500, with the Orioles losing today to the White Sox, recording after the game, so for you, it's yesterday. They're 3.5 up on being out of the playoffs. They almost climbed into the first wild card after Tampa Bay went to extras with the Angels, but they ended up losing. I think the Blue Jays are back, and I think you should have confidence in the Blue Jays. I have been the first one to say this is not a World Series or bust team. You have to make the playoffs, I think, before you win the World Series. But my confidence in them as a playoff team and a potential threat in the playoffs has been restored. What do you think?
I'm kind of with you on that one. I was just kind of like, while we were talking about this pre-ep, I was looking at some of the splits hitting wise and just kind of thinking about where we've been during the season, talking about the bats. Early on, they struggled both April/March and May. They hit 724 OPS, 680 OPS. Then June, they pick it up big time, 856 OPS as a team. Carry that into July where they're really, really solid. They've dipped that back down here in August. They had a bit of a troublesome start to the month, but they've picked it up towards the end. I think that there's been one constant from the offseason to this point, throughout the entire year, and that's been that this is one of the most talented rosters in all of baseball. I just don't really think that's something you can deny. I mean, there's talent wherever you look on this team. Something I talk a lot about when it comes to World Series caliber lineups and rosters is remember the rosters or the lineups of old where there was really no hole in a World Series lineup. Think about the late 2000s lineups like the Phillies. That Phillies team in 08, 09. You couldn't pitch to anybody in that lineup. I'm not saying the Jays necessarily have exactly that, but they've got something close to it where every single player, when healthy, is dangerous. Whether it's Springer, Bo, Vlad, Teoscar, Gurriel, Kirk, everybody can hit the ball out of the ballpark. And that's not something you can say for every team that's headed to the playoffs this offseason or this playoff season. So that's going to be something huge heading into October. I think that when it comes to depth, the Jays have it, and a lot of other teams don't when it comes to the rosters. Look at the Yankees right now. They were fantastic earlier this season, arguably one of the best starts to a season a baseball team has ever had. A couple injuries, though. Stanton and Carpenter go down. They're nothing. They were nothing for the entirety of August up until the last couple of games because all they had was one hitter in their lineup at this point. Because a couple guys go cold and they don't have anybody. You can't say that about the Jays lineup because everybody is pretty darn solid. Now, the pitching is another thing, and that's been a huge letdown this year. But luckily for them, they've kept them in just enough to where they're going to make the playoffs. And I think the Jays are going to be one of those teams, kind of like the Braves were last year, where it absolutely does not matter what the heck your record was when you finish the season. It just matters how you play when the playoffs start because everybody's 0-0. They're going to be just fine. They're going to make the playoffs. They just have to have that mentality when they get there that everybody's got the same record at that point. You just have to play your best baseball.
Speaking of the pitching, if you had to guess, where do you think the Jays rank in the majors in total ERA? Not like starters or relievers, just total ERA. ERA and runs allowed are obviously different. But
I guess it's like I don't know where other teams are. Like, I bet you I'd have a better shot at guessing their ERA.
Okay, what do you think the ERA of the Blue Jays is? Do you want to know what league average is, by the way?
Yes, I would like to know what league average is.
League average is 3.97.
Oh, really? That's pretty low.
Yeah. Scoring's still down. People don't really talk about it, but it is still down.
Interesting. I feel like you're asking me this question because it's above average. So I'm going to say it's like 3.83.
3.85 would be.
Wow, I'm the best.
However, that is still 14th, I want to say. Did I count right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
So roughly average.
10, 11, 12. 13th
I wonder where they rank among
Well, it's
starters.
median versus mean, because average is actually below the 15th team, because the bad teams are pulling it. Like the Nats have a 5.15 staff ERA. Jeez. Only like 10 teams have an ERA above 4. But you also, I mean, I'm not going to make you guess these, but the team above the Jays you would think is higher, and the team below them you would think is lower. The Marlins are the team just above the Jays, like have pitched pretty much the same this year.
They've had a good rotation though.
Yeah, well, I thought the Marlins would be way better than the Jays.
Okay.
In ERA, and then the Angels are right below them, and I would have thought they were way worse.
Kind of nuts.
But yeah, I think my confidence in them as a playoff team is restored. I mean, they still have to go out and do it against Baltimore. We're not like sitting here saying 1,000% they need, or they are in the playoffs for sure. But I believe that they're going to make the playoffs pretty strongly. And, I think some of this we should expect as streakiness from them, going cold to start August and then going really hot into late August. Like you mentioned it, they're a pretty young team. And they've actually developed a little bit of a pattern with only really June as my outlier. Like they didn't really start the season that well. They were 6-5 halfway through April, and yet they went on a streak to win, what was that, 6 out of 7 games, and ended the month 6 games over 500. They had a really slow start to May with a 5-game losing streak in there, but they finished May on a streak that goes into June, an 8-game win streak. They do play well at the beginning of June, but again, July, lose 5 in a row from July 2nd to July 5th, and then near the end of the month, go on a streak where they win 7 in a row and 9 of 10. And then they start August out poorly again, and now they're starting to make a run mid to late August. So, I mean, it's not like the Da Vinci Code or anything, but it does seem like they followed somewhat of a pattern of go cold for a little bit. It's kind of a shove in the back. They get really hot. They get a comfortable spot, go cold again for a little bit, shove in the back. They're fighting when their backs are up against the wall, basically. They just kind of keep teetering back and forth between what we expected and then what they're probably expect.
Let me tell you his stat real quick. It has come entirely based upon how well their pitchers play, whether or not they win or lose. The offense has been roughly consistent the entire time. And so basically, in wins this season, the pitchers' ERAs are a 1.47 in wins. So they've been lights out in wins. In losses, ERAs are 8.63. So it has pretty much come down entirely to if they pitch well. If they pitch well, they win the game. If they don't, they don't. It's that simple. And a lot of the time that's the case, but a lot of the time you don't get an offense that's as consistent as the Jays where you get that to be the case. So it really just comes down to whoever's on the bump. If it's Manoah or Gosman, there's a good chance you're winning that day. If it's not, there's a good chance you're not, unless you have Strip, and Strip's been that dude. It's kind of a rudimentary stat, but at the same time, kind of mind-blowing in that it's so cut and dry,
Yeah. I mean, you've got your Barrios wins. The guy somehow, just picked up his 10th win of the year, which is more than Gosman. I don't care about that stat, but they do score a weird number of runs for Barrios. But yeah, you're right. I mean, they've been one of the best offenses in the league the whole year, even though at times it's gone cold and obviously started cold. They're 6th in all of baseball in runs per game, 2nd in the American League, and they're only back of the 5th place Mets by 1/100th of a run. So they're among the elite of the elite in terms of scoring runs. They're hitting a lot of homers. They score enough to get the job done. The thing that I expect their pitchers' ERA to be good in wins and not as good in losses, but the level to which it differentiates. I mean, it's been so feast or famine this year with guys like Barrios, and then you get really quality starts from someone like Stripling, or most of the time Manoah or Gosman, but then you get blow-up starts too from Kikuchi. So it does, it's wild, but it also makes sense when you just think about how the rotation has gone this year. So yeah, I mean, they're only going to go as far as the rotation takes them, but with the 3 of Gausman, Manoah, and Stripling, I do feel confident. And that is part of the reason that I think the Blue Jays are back is now that Strip is back because he was out during the cold stretch. It's just another, frankly, elite arm right now because the way he's pitching deserves that word.
Yeah, he has. I mean, dude, it's crazy that they've gotten this out of Ross Stripling because at the beginning of the year, they thought, I mean, you thought, and everybody thought that it was going to be the three-headed monster of Manoah, Gausman, and Barrios. Barrios got the opening day nod. That's nuts, dude.
And I don't think
that is crazy.
I don't think we understood the monster that is Alek Manoah. Like, if you had told me that Ryu had a better ERA than Manoah, if you had said this before the year, I would have been like, okay. And I wouldn't have really even been mad at it, you know?
Totally. You would have said, okay, that's fine. I'm sure Manoah even had a good season anyway, but you would not have predicted he had the one he had. But the crazy thing about Stripling to me is that he had two really bad years leading up to this one. 2020, which a sham of a season, if you think so, had a 5.84 ERA in 49 innings. So, I mean, he was not good. He was terrible for the Dodgers and the Jays. And then last year, he wasn't good either. He had a 4.8 in 24 appearances, 19 starts. This year, he's had the best year of his career. That's crazy.
By far. What's his contract? We got to move on.
His contract is he's signed. This is his last season. So, or no, he signed through 2022, which I think means that he's a free agent after this season.
We're gonna wait till later in the year to talk about this, I think, but they're gonna have to pay him a lot of money now, I think.
He's making like nothing right now, so a bump from that. But he is 33 next year, so
someone's gonna come after him. I think he's 33, but with not like a ton of mileage on him for his age because he didn't come up till he was like 27. I want to say
27 or 26.
Okay, all right. Let's take a break, and then when we come back, he was a Blue Jay.
There's no break.
There is break.
There is break?
There's no break. There's no break. Audio listeners, ads now. Everyone else, let's keep rolling.
You're a funny man, Ben Shulman.
This break was going to tell you about placing sports wagers somewhere, but instead we move on. He was a Blue Jay, the game where I pick a niche Blue Jay and Bones tries to guess who it is based on 5 hints about their career. The last one we did was Nolan Reimold. Good job by you. I believe you're 29-10 now. I will do a recount at some point.
Ooh, could be win 30 today.
You've hit 5 in a row in season 5. I have lightened the difficulty a little bit, but not like so much, I think. But we are really running out. If this series makes it the whole season, we should be proud of ourselves. All right, Bones gets 30 seconds or 3 guesses in between each hint. Hints off the top of the head today. Let's start. This middle infielder, I feel comfortable saying shortstop. This shortstop debuted in '98 and played until 2014, although really his last year was like 2011.
Okay. He had a long career.
He did.
And he was a shortstop. Miguel Tejada.
Incorrect. Don't believe he was a Blue Jay.
John McDonald. I just love John McDonald.
I love John McDonald too.
I'll never forget his first walk-off when he was like 800.
Usually I would say like I'm pretty sure this guy's in the Blue Jay, but how deep we dug for these at this point, if I haven't seen this guy's name, like I'm almost confident they're not a Blue Jay. Proceed.
Sure. Go on.
Okay. Hit number 2. He played in the AL East in 2006, 2009, and 2010.
2009 and 10, that's my freaking wheelhouse, dude. Middle infielder in the AL East in 2009. Jason Bartlett. These aren't guesses. I'm going through shortstop in the AL East.
That's cool.
Jason Bartlett. Derek. Who is a Red Sox shortstop? Oh my gosh. Who is the Sox shortstop in 2009? It was Poppy. A DHing. You had Euclid, Pedroia. Oh my gosh. I'm blanking. Wow, that sucks. Was he the Jays shortstop in 2009? I guess that's the question. Yunel Escobar?
Not Yunel Escobar. I don't believe he was there in 2009.
Wow, I bet it's a freaking Red Sox shortstop, and I have no idea who it is.
Yeah,
Is it Pedro Siriaco?
It's not Pedro Siriaco.
Julio Lugo.
Not Julio Lugo.
Okay, go on.
By the way, because I know it's not this guy. Marco Scutero was the Jays shortstop.
Yes, he was. Of course he was. And Aaron Hill was a second baseman.
All right, let's continue. He spent the first, eight years of his career with an NL East team and won a World Series while he was along for the ride.
First 8 years. Okay, so 98, 99, 2000. Marlin in 03. It's Edgar Renteria? Marlin in 03. That's what he had to be. Why are you giggling? Why are you giggling, Ben?
I just like your. Never mind. Continue.
He had to be Marlin in 03. He was on. That's the only team that won a World Series in the NL East back then. Let's go. Now we're going through them. Yankees. D-backs, Angels, Marlins, Red Sox, White Sox, Cardinals. Okay. Had to be the freaking Marlins. And I don't know who the Marlins shortstop was in 03, so we'll move on.
Okay. I was looking at that 2003 Marlins team. Hint number 4. This hint would annoy you so much.
Well, I feel like it's gonna.
Let me do this. I'll make it a little nicer. One reason you probably don't remember the Red Sox 2009 shortstop is because he wasn't very good, and the Sox traded Cincinnati for this guy to become their starting shortstop. Like
Steven Drew.
No.
Well, what? The Red Sox traded Cincinnati. What? Can you do that again?
They traded Cincinnati for this guy to take over for their forgettable shortstop that you don't remember playing like 100 games with them in 2009.
Paul Janisch.
No. I'm even, you know what? This doesn't count as hint 5. I'm going to give you the name of the other Red Sox shortstop. Nick Green. Do you remember Nick Green?
I know his name. I could not put to his
Solid
face.
defender, but couldn't hit worth anything.
Oh, gosh. This is going to really mess me up.
They were like, we need a little more pop. So they replaced him with this guy.
It's not Zach Cozart. It is not
Zach
Orlando Hudson. It's not Brandon Phillips. It's
Orlando
not Ryan Hannigan. It's not Scott Rowland. It is not. Who the heck was playing shortstop for the freaking Reds in 09? Who was playing? This is going to really make me angry because I know this team.
I don't know what my next hint is. If I'm going to be honest. That can give you more than.
Goodness gracious. Who freaking played for the Red Sox in 09, man? And 10? Can I get a phone a friend?
Sure. We've never done that before.
I'm doing a phone a friend. But okay, I'm doing a phone a friend. Hold on. You gotta filibuster while I.
Who are you calling? That's who I want to know.
I'm calling my good friend Calvin Cristoforo.
Oh, he's gonna get it for sure. Our friend Calvin. Okay, you have to tell him. Mute your mic and tell him we're recording. So.
Well, I'll just tell him right here,
okay.
and then I'm gonna put him on speaker. This is good.
This is a lock.
He might not pick up.
Calvin Cristoforo is a school friend of ours from Red Sox.
He didn't pick up. I'm gonna call him again. Hold on.
All right. You get one more call on him. It's ringing.
I don't think he's going to pick up. It's actually not ringing, which makes me worried.
Oh, his phone's off.
Oh, his phone's like.
You have anyone else that you want to call?
He's my most trusty Red Sox fan.
I haven't even given you a fifth hint. I found a fifth hint that I think works.
You know what? I will try. No, I don't have anybody else.
Fifth hint. He played for the Jays. So did another guy with his exact same name in his exact same position.
Same name?
Same name, same position. Exact same name, same position. This guy played for the Jays earlier than the guy you're trying to guess right now. So he's the second one, the guy you're trying to guess right now.
Oh my gosh. That was like a gosh, I'm trying to think of another Red Sox fan I could call right now.
Era of Blue Jay fan that just pinged it. Because when this guy came to the Blue Jays, it was news that a guy with the same name and the same position was playing there. It was news.
At this moment, I wish I had more friends that were Red Sox fans.
You know someone who works for the AAA affiliate, but
yeah, I'm going to call him.
You're calling him. Okay.
I'm calling our Worcester Red Sox insider, Cooper Boardman.
I thought this was who you were calling initially because I think he's going to know who played short for the 09 Red Sox. Our friend Cooper from school.
I don't have faith that he does.
But
I also think there's a less chance that he picks up.
There is less chance that he picks up. You are right.
But I'm on the phone. It's ringing.
On a friend.
It's ringing. It's still ringing.
It's not going well.
No, it's not. And I don't know the answer. That's the tough part.
I don't think I can give you another call.
No, you can't. I use my two calls. He's not going to pick up.
You don't think so?
Dang it. Goodness. Oh, no, he didn't pick up. All right, my final answer is Ryan Jones.
I'll throw some bonus hints in there.
Okay, bonus hints.
Even though we're over time. Let's just do it. Career path. Florida, Boston, Cincinnati, Boston, Toronto, Atlanta, Milwaukee, Detroit.
I have no idea. What is it?
You just want to know?
I have no idea.
It's one-time All-Star, 2003 World Series champion, shortstop Alex Gonzalez. Alex
Gonzalez is like, isn't he like really a Blue Jay?
No, he played. So other Alex.
What's crazy about him is I know. Okay, hold on. Now I have to look at
Alex Gonzalez.
I'm thinking of the right Alex Gonzalez.
94 to 01. But I'm talking about Alex Gonzalez, who only played.
Yeah, I know this Alex Gonzalez. I know exactly who this guy is.
This is the Alex Gonzalez you're thinking of when you think of Alex Gonzalez. But for everyone even like 10 years older than us, the other Alex Gonzalez was the Jays shortstop from 90 to 01.
I would like the record to show. That Julio Lugo played 37 games for the Red Sox in 2009. I just like the record to show that.
Okay, well,
that's all I'd like.
Gonzalez played.
I'm not saying he was a starter. I'm just saying I was in the right ballpark.
He was the shortstop of the Red Sox.
I can't believe both my phone of friends failed.
Both your.
I want you to know, 0 chance Cooper had that.
0 chance. You think Calvin?
Calvin, I bet you would have had it. Calvin, I bet you would have had it. He would have been like Alex Gonzalez.
Because he was also in 06. In 06, he was the Red Sox shortstop, 111 games.
Yeah.
But the Blue Jays, I think, signed him before 2010. And then traded him, Tim Collins and Tyler Pasternicki with him.
Tyler Pasternicki. Wow, I forgot he existed.
For Yunel Escobar and Jojo Reyes. That was the trade. All right. That's all we got.
This has got to end, man. Thanks for making Locked On Blue Jays your first listen today. Go make your second one with PFS, Paul Francis Sullivan, the MLB expert. He brings humor, passion, and unique perspective on every team and the biggest stories around the league. Follow the #1 daily league-wide podcast, Locked On MLB, on the Odyssey app, YouTube, and wherever you get podcasts. Ben and I back tomorrow with a prospect roundup on your Friday episode.